It's the Lekker Rugby Pod.
How's it, Harry, here in the mountains, going up early morning, freezing weather, and scaling peaks and tumbling down. A lot of people have been saying to me, yo, you criticize the Bulls' inability to turn all those entries into tries. What's the solution? And I was thinking about it on the climb this morning, and I think I have a couple of ideas. I mean, nothing's foolproof. You're not going to convert 10 entries into 10 tries, but you should be getting, 5 of those into tries. And I've looked at all the Bulls' 22 entries recently, taking a look at 4 or 5 matches. And there's a trend that I see that is negative and destructive to their hopes. So you're losing matches you should win. Like, you've built all the structure. You get into the tighter zone where defenses have a bit of an upper hand. I mean, one line, you have white line fever. You have a dropped transfer at the line out. You have a crossing call at the line out. You have the fact that most mauls don't drive more than 5 meters. So if you try to launch from 10 out, you're not going to get there. Then sometimes that messes up your phase play because all your heavy carriers are involved and implicated in the maul. And so it's hard for Akker and Cam and Elrich to detach and get back. But generally speaking, what I saw was that the Bulls are too obedient. They're too law-abiding. And it happens specifically in a situation where they've already won a penalty and they're playing on advantage in the red zone. So that's when there should be a call, a code, and everyone knows, go scale 'em. We're going to go outlaw, half criminal. And the reason is because anything that's going to happen, if it's non-foul play penalty, you're just going to go back to what the penalty was, but you can prolong that period of time, which increases the chances of your defensive team being pinged again, and then that advantage becomes a double advantage, which then increases the chance of a card. But also it involves playing closer to the law. So I call it the almosts. On advantage, the Bulls should stop the early kick pass, the grubber, the kick over, or the kick to the side. As much as that sometimes works and it becomes a highlight, you think that's a high percentage play, it's not. And you're giving away your advantage. So Fred Dupree used to do that a lot and would do my head into the box as well. So when you have advantage, you scream your call, your code, your skellum call, and then everyone does the almost. You almost cross in the midfield. You almost obstruct. You almost do an NFL style block. You almost latch. You do those things because you're putting pressure on the referee who's fixated on the offside line and looking for defensive miscues. You get away with a few of those. And if you can, then you'll score. If it happens early enough in the phase attack, they won't even come back to look at all the way back. And the almost is key there. You're not going reckless, but you're just upping you're reducing your discipline a little bit. And you're on purpose. You're increasing the jeopardy. I mean, what was best, worst that can happen is you come back. From 6 meters to about 15 meters out, where you're not going to be able to maul all the way or drive, you still want to use it as an aircraft carrier. But in your mind, you're using it as that feint. So, Akker's not been involved in enough drives to the line. You want your grobbelaars, you want your big carriers, you want not so much the locks of the Bulls, but you want to have enough of that. So if you can launch the aircraft carrier and then you detach that mobile phase as a mobile phase launcher, use that as the attack launcher. When you're 5 meters and in, I would think that instead of doing always the maul drive, which involves 3 variables, you got to get the throw right, you have to get the transfer right, and you have to not do anything illegal in this ensuing drive. Why not 50% of the time do tap and goes? There was some exquisite tap and goes a year ago, and the Bulls seem to have shelved that. I mean, you've got some really tough to bring down carriers in Low and Honeycomb. If you just put them in crossing moves from a tap and go, and you have that quickly set up, so there's no deliberation, but you know that every second time or whatever the call is, then you can wind up. I would say, particularly if you're behind by 7 or more, then do the tap and go. If you are ahead by 7, then do the line out maul, because you can waste so much time. You stroll there, you come, didn't hear you, no, what was it? The referee's yelling at you, but it's okay. He's not going to really do anything. And then you set it up, you slow, you drive, and then you still launch phases. So yeah, basically do the almosts, stop obeying the rules so much when you're on advantage. Don't try to launch from deep on mauls. You're not going to get there. It's more of a feint. And then 5 and in, mix it up. In general, the predictability of having superlative runners, which is great in the midfield or 30 out, it kind of erases the closer you get to the try line. And so you need more misdirection, more unpredictability, and inside your own camp, it needs to be very predictable. But for a while, it'll be unpredictable to opposition until that's solved. But right now, it looks like the red zone attack, for the most part, has been solved. So there's Harry's Howsits for Lekker Rugby Pod from the mountain. I'll have more revelations about the Stormers tomorrow, and then maybe the Sharks next.
It's the Lekker Rugby Pod.